Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Macon Campbell and this is maconSTUFF. Although today I suppose you can call me breakinSTUFF. So as you can probably tell by the thumbnail and the title of this video, my hopes of doing a solo desert dash in 2021 are pretty much ruined. Around 10 days ago while I was doing my morning ride, I had a pretty bad crash, and as you can see I broke my collarbone. This plaster goes all the way down to here. I'm not exactly sure how big the cut is, but from what I saw on the x-rays the break is fairly close to the end of the collarbone, which apparently in most cases requires a fixture. So that was Thursday morning last week. Friday morning I went in for the operation where they joined the collarbone with a plate and screws. So you might be asking how on earth I broke my collarbone while riding on a tar road at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning with absolutely no traffic. So the route that I usually do in the morning has got a really steep hill which takes me to the highest elevation of my whole morning route. Now this hill is kind of a loop, and once you get to the top it is quite a hairy and steep descent down the other side. Now this particular morning while I was bombing down that hill, I must have been doing around 60 kilometers an hour when I spotted a cat running across the street. Try as I may to dodge it, ultimately we ended up colliding and I went over the bars, landing mainly on my head and my shoulders. Thankfully the helmet did its job and it saved my head, but my helmet is totally ruined. The plastic shell around the side is pretty much intact, but I've got cracks running all the way through it. So I can't even imagine how bad this would have been had I not been wearing my helmet. So aside from the obvious break in my collarbone, I did sustain a number of scrapes and bruises, but for the most part I'm pretty much okay. And thankfully for the most part it seems as if my bike didn't take too much damage either. I've got a tiny bit of damage on the grips of my handlebars, a couple of scrapes on the seat. The only thing that took quite a bit of damage was my light. The whole bracket for mounting onto the handlebars is totally broken. I don't know if I'm going to be able to purchase parts with which I can fix it, or if I'll be able to fix it myself. That was a very expensive light, so it's quite a pity that that is broken. So as I said, it's around 10 days since the crash. After surgery I was put in a sling, but I've been finding it really hard to manage with the sling. So since the first day that I was home after the surgery, I've been taking my sling off during the day and then only wearing the sling at nights just to prevent me from moving involuntarily. So for the first couple of days I was only able to straighten my arm. I wasn't able to pick my arm up at all because it was too painful, but as the days have gone on I've been able to use my hand a whole lot more. I just can't muster up any strength with it, and my range of motion is a little bit limited. I can't get very close to my face and I can't get very close to my ass either. So brushing my teeth and wiping my ass I've been doing with my left hand, which is pretty uncomfortable, but I'm managing. Now obviously, as one does after a semi-traumatic experience like this, I've been really beating myself up over the last week thinking of how I could have avoided this accident. But at the end of the day, these are the cards that I've been dealt and I'm just going to have to deal with it. Most of you will probably not know that this is in fact the first time in my life that I've broken any bone in my body. So far it's not a very fun experience and I really hope I don't make a habit of it in the future. So I probably don't need to tell you how disappointed I am in the fact that I'm most probably not going to be able to do the Desert Dash. Now the main reason for that is not because of how much I'm going to enjoy the race. In fact, I probably won't enjoy most of it. The main reason is because I don't really want to have to go through the months of training and preparation for this race again. Now I know that there are many people that live for this kind of riding, but I'm most definitely not one of those. You know, I would much rather prefer like a 30 or a 40 kilometers of single track than going 200 or 300 kilometers on a gravel road. So the main reason I actually wanted to do this race is just because of the challenge. This is an extremely hard endurance event and it takes a really strong mind and a body to get through a challenge like this. And it's just something that I wanted to prove to myself that I can do, and by doing it prove to myself that most other challenges that I face in a day-to-day basis pale in comparison with the challenge that I just completed. So for the past week and a half, basically, I've just been sitting around feeling sorry for myself, eating a whole lot of junk food, and just feeling generally demotivated. In fact, today is the first day since I've had the operation that I've even managed to get properly dressed. For the most part, I've just been hanging around in my PJs. And the main reason for that is because I have my first follow-up appointment with the doctor regarding my operation. Hey guys, it's me from the future here. Just a quick check-in. It's 2 days after I saw my doctor and he has confirmed that there is definitely no way that I'm going to be doing this race. Now, be that as it may, there is something else that I find a little unsettling. So just before I left the doctor's offices, I asked him if I could get a copy of the post-op x-ray on my collarbone, just because I wanted to show my wife and my family, and I also wanted to use it for this update video. Now, I am no doctor and I'm most definitely no orthopedic surgeon, but on this fairly low resolution copy of the x-ray, it does seem like there's something amiss here. If you look closely, it looks as if there is quite a considerable gap between the two pieces of bone. This operation is called open reduction internal fixation. Reduction meaning reducing the gap between the fragments in the bone. Now, as far as I can tell, it doesn't seem as if that gap has been reduced as much as it's supposed to. I don't know how well that gap is going to heal up, which definitely does worry me a bit. I have made an appointment with another orthopedic surgeon to get a second opinion on the work that's been done here, and this appointment is in fact made with the surgeon who was supposed to be doing my shoulder operation next year. Now, in hindsight, what I think I should have done as soon as I got to the hospital was phone the doctor who was supposed to do my shoulder next year and possibly see if they could have done both operations at the same time. But at that stage, I was still clinging to any kind of hope that I might still be able to do the race. So as I said, I'm not a doctor or a surgeon at all, and I may very well be overreacting totally, and this fixation might be perfect, but I'm not going to know until I get another opinion. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that in here quickly, so let's get back to the video. Now, frankly, I didn't even feel like making this video, but for the 4 or 5 people that are actually following this journey on my channel, I thought it would be decent of me just to explain what is going on. Now, as it stands, there are 11 days left until the race, so I'm finally starting to accept that this is probably not going to happen. But as I said, I'm seeing my doctor this afternoon, and if he gives me just the slightest bit of hope that I could possibly still do this race, you can be sure I'm not going to think twice. If not, then I guess it is what it is. Every time someone hears about my accident, they inevitably say, "Don't worry about it, there's next year." Now, for me, there isn't next year. In my head, I've already pretty much planned out what I want to do in terms of biking. For next year, I really wanted to concentrate more on trail riding, working on some of my skills on the bike, and perhaps getting in on some enduro riding down in South Africa. But at the end of the day, what this whole experience has taught me is that you can't make too many plans. I suppose it's just better to take each day as it comes and roll with the punches. So with all that said, once again, for those of you who have been following along, thank you very much for watching. Wish me luck at my doctor's appointment this afternoon. I really hope that he has some good news for me at least. And till next time, keep making stuff.